decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
We've been working so hard for the folks. I figured we needed to start with a damn round of applause. But hey, everybody, thank you for joining us here tonight on the Big BoneYard. We said it was going to be about 7 days, so it's about 7 days if we did the math right. But hey, welcome to the Big BoneYard. You got myself, Big Bone 1%er, Archbishop 1%er, sir.
What up, dog?
Right on. And of course, we got Uncle Shaggy 1%er in the MFN house.
And as you can see there, it says CM2SCW, what that stands for is Construction Mechanics Second Class CB Combat Warfare Specialist Qualified United States Navy CB. Today is March 5th. March 5th, 1942 is when the CBs were created for the United States Navy, and the real men in the Navy were created, the real dirt sailors, not them jarheads, not the Marines, not the MWR locker attendees, the real men of the United States Navy. Out of the CBs came many great things like the Navy SEALs, UDT, all that good shit like that. Happy birthday to my CBs, my fellow CBs, future and past and present. And man, today is a great day. Happy birthday, CBs.
Hey, drink them if you got them. Happy birthday to the CBs, y'all.
Happy birthday. John Wayne played one. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't know, man. See, I had some John Wayne jokes, but I'm gonna save those for another time when we're not on the air.
Look, Pilgrim, don't make me get the guns out.
I hear you. Well, folks, hey, thank y'all for joining us again on the Big BoneYard. And just to address the thing that I know this is gonna be a shock, but we're gonna address the thing we always address, which is we're gonna talk about some of everything, as y'all know we do. But the opinions that you're going to hear tonight or any night are the opinions of my individual opinions, Archbishop, as well as doggone Uncle Shaggy. These are our individual opinions. They are no reflection on our club or our organizations in any fashion whatsoever. This is us just kicking it like the fuck we kick it. But so having said that, got that out of the way. So, man, I got to ask you, Archbishop, man, I know I've been pounding it, just beating the hell out of that slab. But how was your weekend, man?
Mine been a little, between work and looking for a house and everything else. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to relocate a little bit. So yeah, I've been a little busy this weekend. But it was always good to see you and the bros today and rode around just a little bit. You know what I mean? Time. That's always a good thing.
It was. I know y'all heard me say before. I use this expression and say I got my diamond recharge. Yeah, that's what happened for me today. It was a good time just chopping it up with the bros, and I'm telling you, I got my shit recharged. It's like if you could take a USB and just plug it right into the jewelry. Yeah, that was what it was like for me today. Just charged up. It was good. Good day. Doggone. Happy birthday to you, Uncle Shaggy. How was your weekend, man?
Busy working. On duty this weekend, so. Of course, you got work, and then bros, we all get together to spend some time together today. And after I get done with this fine show here, I got to go run into work for a little while. And, it's just a part of being an adult.
I'm not a fan of that. Man, let me ask you a question. So the CBs are sort of like, I think of the CBs as like the Marines of the Navy, because there's not very many of y'all by comparison. So do you have other CBs that you run into on a regular, like either in your club or like on the set where you are?
Not particularly in my club, but in my former club, there was a bunch of us.
No shit.
I've met CBs in other 1% clubs. I've met them in other military clubs. I've met them in religious clubs. The CBs is the construction force that was created during World War II because we're sending civilians over there and they're getting their asses capped right and left. And so the Navy an admiral came out and had this great idea. Wait, why don't we put uniforms on these guys, train them with the Marine Corps, and then let them build and fight and protect what they build. So that's
Right.
what we did. And so those core values I learned as a young man up to this day came from being in the United States Navy Seabee. So one of my favorite things I like to say is, with compassion we build, we fight, which means, we're going to care very heavily about how bad we're beating the living bricks off of you. And we're still going to be kind enough, if we don't kill you, to at least get you to a hospital and see if they can patch you up. The other part of that is no Air Force is allowed. We don't allow, those chair sitting sissies.
Air Force.
In Kadena Air Force Base over in Okinawa, Japan, there's only two factions that were not allowed in there: the Marines and the Seabees. Why? Because we beat up the Air Force and take their women. And finally, we are the construction force of the world. I mean, literally of the world. The Army's engineer corps is horrible. The Marine Corps, they shouldn't even have a engineer corps. I mean, these guys are Marines. They're riflemen first, and they certainly show it. The Pink Pony, or what's also known as the Red Horse for the Air Force, they get all kinds of brand new shit bought from them, brand new. They break it within 10 minutes. We take our dilapidated 90-year-old shit, go out there, and we do the job. To say the least, that I'm proud to be a CB. Goddamn right I am. It goes along with everything in my life. I've earned that title. I wore that title. I fought for this country, this title. And, when the Marines always say, man, first to go, last to know, bullshit, they sent the CBs in. Somebody's got to clear the field. Somebody's got to put an air runway down, and somebody's got to put the barracks in for the Marines, because they don't even like the tents, the GP meetings that they have to stay in. And I don't blame them. I didn't like them either.
Hey, I hear you, man. And, I kind of I'm offended by you fucking up our Marine Corps propaganda, though. That's the whole thing. I've been putting that shit out.
Marines have been offended since day one. That's what happens when men come in the room. That's why we're the real men of the Navy.
It's your birthday. It's your birthday, so I ain't gonna fight with y'all two motherfuckers. Because Bishop is like, yeah, get him. Damn it! I don't feel safe right now. But hey, so for those of y'all that don't know, if you've been living under a rock somewhere or don't like to ride your motorcycle, it is Daytona Bike Week. We mentioned it a little bit last week. We delved into it in the second part of the show last week. But so Daytona is a big deal. It's they call it one of the big four as far as biker rallies in the United States. That being Daytona, Sturgis, Myrtle Beach, Laconia. So these are some big events. And if you're in an MC, but even if you're not, folks go. Civilians go. People don't know nothing about a motorcycle, go just to see all of the women and the bikes and the parties and all this. But if you're in a club, a lot of clubs, hey, that might be, and it varies from organization to organization, but it might be a mandatory thing. Some of the biggest clubs in the United States, they're going to stop what they're doing once a year, and they're going to get their ass to Florida, no matter where the hell they are. They're going to come to Daytona. So, and when you do that, so going to Daytona, and like Hood would say, and all the bullshit with it, so that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Like, what do you do? How do you conduct yourself? What if you see somebody that you love? So what if you see somebody you hate? What if you see somebody you don't know? So it's that kind of stuff, because it's the kind of stuff, if you've never been, might want to, definitely lean in a little bit, pay attention to what we're going to be talking about tonight. And for those of y'all that are watching the show, definitely, don't be shy. Y'all call in, let us know, what your experiences have been. We definitely want to hear your 2 cents worth on all of that, So, but having said that, so AB, I'll start with you. What's the biggest biker rally that you've been to, like in your MC career?
The biggest one, I say the biggest one would probably be Sturgis. I think that was the biggest one. I mean, I've been to Daytona, I've been to Myrtle Beach. I think Sturgis was probably the biggest one.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. What about you, Shaggy?
I'm not a big fan of the great big rallies. I like the smaller ones. So I would have to say the biggest one I did would have to be a toss-up between Wilson, North Carolina's Easy Rider Bike Show and Rodeo, or the Gulfport Memorial Day Blowout. That I used to go to that one every year. That one is actually probably one of the better ones. I like the smaller events.
Yeah.
I had this thing with large groups of people, and I just I don't like big crowds and stuff. So Sturgis would be probably a little overwhelming for me. You know, I would have to definitely get out of the big crowded areas where I'd want to see. So I would definitely say for me the smaller rallies are definitely the way to go.
Now, you said Wilson, North Carolina?
Yeah, I was up in Wilson, North Carolina
Yeah.
at fairgrounds, I believe. They used to hold
Yeah.
the Easy Rider Bike Show and Rodeo.
I know. The reason I say I know Wilson, North Carolina. Well, I know a lot of North Carolina. I was stationed at Lejeune, of course, but I've been all around that doggone state. And Wilson is kind of like, you know, that's not, you wouldn't even really think about a biker rally in Wilson. You know, so it's a pretty good. Well, I mean, I know you said you like the smaller events, but how many folks do you think would probably go to that?
There was thousands and thousands of people. I mean, it was at that time it was bigger than the Gulfport blowout. I mean, it was probably I'd been to the blowout for 5, 6, 7 years prior to that. You know, just consistently, and then I got transferred up to Norfolk, Virginia, my last active duty station. So I met one of the founders of my former club down there at Wilson, North Carolina, because I'd never been to Easy Rider Bike Show, and everybody talks about how great they are. And they are a good time. I mean, they really are. And anybody knows Wilson, North Carolina,
Yeah.
there's flatlands in this country.
Yeah.
But that's about as flat as it gets, man. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
shit, the salt flats up in Utah and Nevada were nowhere near as flat as that place.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, and North Carolina is one of them states where you're going to get it all. You'll get some mountains, you'll get some hills, you'll get some beach, you'll get some flatlands, all of that. You get all of that in North Carolina. But
you know what though? Now we done hit all these. We done hit all these big ones, and then but I kind of agree with Shaggy. A lot of them smaller ones is where you had the most fun at.
Yeah.
Now
True.
they have there's one in Ohio. It's called Easy Rider. And man, I'm gonna tell you what, I had the most fun.
You talking about the one in Chillicothe?
Yes, sir. I've
Yeah,
had the most fun there.
That's the same one that's linked up with the show in Wilson.
Oh, okay.
Same promoters, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the most fun at that little rally right there than I did all of them put together.
You know what?
I've heard Chillicothe is a blast.
Oh yeah.
I need to go up there because I learned to say Chillicothe from my first sergeant in the Marine Corps. He was from Chillicothe.
It's not Mexican. It's not Mexican. It's Chillicothe.
No, he said Chillicothe, right?
Chillicothe. C. Not A. It's not the Mexican drink.
That's that. Look, y'all know I have Latino tendencies.
No, we all know you have Marine Corps hooked on phonics.
But yeah, I think y'all are right though. Some of the smaller ones, because like here in Florida, they have there's a place called the Gibtown Bike Fest. It's in Gibsonton, Florida, and they do it every year. And Gibsonton is where all of the circus people, you see them all around the United States, and you know, like the woman with the hair on her face, and the fat lady, and the tall guy, and the little people, and all this stuff. So all of those people, when they quit being in the circus, they typically retire to a place called Gibsonton, Florida, and they have a museum from the Barnum and Bailey Museum is there. So, but that's where they do this big bike rally every year, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. It's absolutely a lot of fun. There's that, and then Leesburg is another one that they do every year, and them folks on a side tip, they make a lot of money. And this place, Leesburg, I've heard that folks when they do that Leesburg Bike Fest, they make all the money that they're going to make for the whole year in that 1 week. Like that's it. They work that 1 week, and a lot of folks there, they're not really, they're just waiting till the next year so they can make a boatload of money. Because there is money involved in this stuff too. So
there's a lot of towns that are like that. There are a lot of towns that are like that. Everything's geared around that bike rally or that certain event, and the bikers bring to the community uh, a level of economy, um, and money, and a level that is just untouched by any other faction out there.
Yeah,
You know,
gotcha. So
millions and millions of dollars are spent.
now I guess, and well, if you look at who some of the sponsors are for this stuff, I mean, of course, there's Harley and Geico, and uh, I remember one year Procter and Gamble was out there. I'm like, what the hell's P&G out there? But yeah, you see these big companies, big name companies, and they're out there in full force, and just adding to the fun of it. But they spend millions of dollars on marketing and advertising, but they also sponsor a lot of this stuff because they want to get their name out in front of a captive audience, so to speak. So there's money involved too. There's folks that they're making good dough at these events because quiet is kept. Us bikers, we have a tendency to spend some money. Derek Warrington's talking about Leesburg Bike Fest. Yeah, we just mentioned that. Somebody else mentioned Sturgis. Long River Run.
Laconia.
Yeah, Laconia. Yeah, Laconia is a big one. So I guess the big thing for tonight is, so what in the whole wide world, let's say, like from start to finish, you decide your club says, fellas, yeah, it's mandatory. We're going to Sturgis, or we're going to Daytona, or we're going to this bike fest. What's the first group of things that ought to happen when you make the decision that, yep, we're going? Now, some clubs, they go every year, so it's understood. But if this is your first time going, what kind of stuff should you know? What kind of stuff do you want somebody to tell you? What do you think, Shaggy?
It's going to depend on, one, what kind of club you are.
Mhm.
Two, um, what your relationship is with the clubs that typically go up there. Like, I could give examples of my former club being a neutral club. We at that club that I was in, we got along with everybody, and so we followed protocol and earned our respect through the years as being known as being neutral. So it was kind of easy for us to go to places like, say, a Daytona or Laconia or up there Sturgis or even out there in Nevada, Laughlin. The thing is if if you're not going there other than to have a great time, don't go.
Right.
I mean, if you're in a club and you're going there to have other than a great time, don't go because you're gonna end up ruining it for yourselves, ruin it for everybody else there. The law enforcement is already bad enough at these things. Like I used to love watching that show when they showed Daytona during Bike Week up there, and the police are everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And you can even Google on YouTube now the way the police are up there in Daytona. Uh, these people are up there to make money, and they're there to enforce laws. One, in a state most of them ain't from, and two, they're there to, in my opinion, my humble opinion, to screw with the big club. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen video after video of it. Pulling packs of the Hells Angels over, or pulling packs of the Banditos over, or the Sons of Silence over. These other big organizations that go up there every year. The cops are out there pulling entire packs over, and for what? They're trying to find some reason to harass them, and that's a part of what the Motorcycle Profiling Projects and the NCOC is a big part of. We want to hear those stories so we can stop that, but go up there to have a good time. I mean,
So
Jesus Christ, you're never going to find a looser woman than at a motorcycle rally.
So the attitude, which is, I was actually going to ask about that. So the attitude should be, let's go have a good time, which I think, overwhelmingly, I think, certainly for civilians that are going, folks that aren't in the club, they're going to have a good damn time. So you're saying that the clubs should have that same exact way of thinking. They ought to show up with the intention of, damn it, they're doing it. Let's go have a good time.
Well, if I'm spending all that money to ride all the way up there, pack the shit up there that I got to take, plus Sturgis is not cheap. I've heard. I've never been.
Yeah.
I've been told how great it is, but you better bring a couple grand with you.
Yeah.
And even people that like Professional Monkey, he goes up there every year, and he stays up there at the Buffalo Chip. He has to book that year out at a time or 2 years out, however he does it. And it's not cheap. If I'm spending all that money up there, I'm wanting to have a good time and even have fun with whatever clubs are out there, whatever people are out there. People are there for the same reason I am. I'm not wanting to spend my money on bail money,
Right.
shit like that. I want to get the experience. But that's not to say you don't stop being who you are. You still don't take no shit. You don't give no shit that thing.
You ever heard about clubs going up there doing what they call a show of force? I remember I was watching, I hate to admit it, that show called, the hell was the name of it? Documentary, it's called Gangland. And I want to
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. I want to stress that just because they called it that, motorcycle clubs are not gangs. I want to be very clear about that. But this show loved to use the misnomer gangland and then talk about motorcycle clubs. And I won't even go down that damn rabbit hole. But anyway, but having said that, for some clubs, they're going to show up. It's a national run for them. So they're going to show up in big, huge numbers. So what, if anything, does that mean? Like Archbishop, you see, you're in Daytona, you see 600 of a certain club show up. Does that mean they're there to beat folks up, or does that mean that, hey, it's Daytona and that's what we do?
Well, two things. The first thing I'd say is, everybody generally goes there to have a good time. Have a good time, chill out, hang out with your brothers, talk to some chicks, do whatever, get drunk. That happens. That's what you actually plan to go there for.
Yeah.
Now, does bullshit follow? Absolutely. And a lot of times it only takes one person to set it off. Somebody walking around, they super drunk and they say the wrong thing, or they do the wrong thing, or they run up on somebody's old lady or something like that. It's usually the first thing that happens to set it off. So,
right.
Even if it is, 100, 200 of a certain club to come in there, don't mean shit, actually. Because everybody rightfully goes there nobody goes to Daytona or Sturgis to fight. You go to have fun. Have fun, hang out with your bros, make some memories, come back with some stories and some big ass lies to tell when you get home. That's what you go there for.
Right.
You don't, but you are prepared for the bullshit if it comes.
Right. Okay.
So that's the best answer I could give you.
No, I'm with you. It's like, expect the best, prepare for the worst.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, the example you were given, Bone, I think those ganglands covered a different time and era in our history as motorcycle clubs. I don't think clubs typically want that kind of heat anymore because, Sturgis's rallies got bigger and bigger. Well, guess what else gets bigger? The amount of law enforcement there, the amount of people out there provoking, these clubs so that the law enforcement has something to do.
Yeah.
The drunks that provoke the club guys to sometimes, do what they do. I mean, it's almost like a no-win situation for the clubs, but they go up there, they maintain themselves, they're professional, they're there to have fun too. And these clubs have gotten smart, like they find their own campgrounds where it's just them, and they stay away from, the locals or whatever. They're up there to enjoy the experience and have a good time, but they're there with their brothers in safety and to keep themselves from bail money and lawyers and a bunch of trophies to take home that involve a lot of fines.
Yeah, I like to take my lawyer with me just in case.
I prefer not to have to use mine.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. But our lawyers are scary. Cops
But
don't
you
like.
know, a lot of the bad press that we get on these events is, you think about it, the hotels, the restaurants, stuff like that, they love the fact that these events is going on because they're gonna make a shitload of money while we're doing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now your actual residents hate it because, you know, it's just something that goes along with big festivals. The stuff goes on. You know what I mean? There's fighting, there's, you know, trash all over the damn place. People just throwing shit everywhere. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it gets messy, and you know what I mean. And then, like you said, like you make the mess, and then you leave and go home, and
Right.
then you got the town folk that got to go there and clean all that shit up.
Yeah.
You know, so you get a lot of bad press there. Then you have some that's out there, and just because, you know, you got on your vest and your chaps and all your fucking jewelry and shit, don't mean you got to
Right.
be out there and be disrespectful to fucking people, especially
Right.
civilians, because they don't know what the hell you are or what position you hold, anything like that. They just amazed to see all these damn bikes. They
Right.
walking around looking at bikes, got the kids walking around looking at bikes and shit like that. They don't need the disrespect. You know what I mean? And you're sitting there calling somebody out the name or whatever because they done got too close to your bike and every damn thing else. You know what I mean? So it usually causes a lot of extra stuff that ain't even needed. You know what I mean? As opposed to, you know, like this town just welcomes you here to have this function. They expect you to come here, have your fun, and leave. You know what I mean? They don't want the extra shit. But if you do though, you know what I mean? And the courthouse is ready too, because they're gonna hit you with every fine and citation that they can think of, you know.
So the courthouse is ready
Impound,
for it.
right. And don't have your rags on and have some shit in your tour pack and all that, because they're gonna take your bike and they're gonna take all your shit and they're gonna send you home with a bus pass. And, and 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna get it back. You know what I mean? So just keep it simple. You know what I mean? Go there, handle your business, have fun, go the fuck home.
Hey, that part, and you know, it's so funny you said that, because I was actually just getting ready to ask y'all about, so the basically the interaction, and by that I mean, so there's a lot of different folks that's going to be at Myrtle Beach or Daytona or Laconia, wherever. So the step by step. Now the easy blanket thing is treat everybody the same. The thing is though, if you're in a club, you got, first of all, you got different folks in that club. You know, of different. A lot of times you got an old head who thinks one way. You got the young whippersnapper who's thinking a different way, and then you got some everybody all in the middle. You got your hot heads, and you got them. Hey, let's be cool. You know, and I think a lot of times that's going to come down to your leadership, how they're going to dictate, and how they're going to influence the membership, as far as how they're going to interact with whomever. And by whomever, I'm talking, the first one I was going to say, which you just jumped on, Archbishop, was civilians. Like you said, these folks, they don't know nothing about none of that. So I guess the question I was going to ask was, how should a MC interact with civilians? Shaggy,
well, you know,
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
You want to go first, one?
No,
well, I was going to say, you know, we out all the time, and civilians just going to walk up to you, whether you're at a gas station, Walmart, wherever. They're going to walk up to you. And they're going to ask you questions which you think is probably some dumbass questions to ask. You know what I mean? But they're going to ask. You know, I've never not answered a question that somebody asks. You know what I mean? No matter how crazy the question may have sounded. You know what I mean? Why? It's because I have no reason to be disrespectful.
Right.
So, and the fact that you came over and asked me, you know what I mean, kind of automatically tells me that obviously you don't know, or you wouldn't have asked the question in the first place. You know, It may seem crazy to me because it's something that, you know, I feel that everybody that ride a bike would know, but they don't know. You know what I mean? Right. So you think about it like this. When you're, let's say you're in a store and you're not in rags, okay? You're an actual civilian. Don't nobody know you for being anything else. You're an actual civilian out here.
Right.
So how would you feel if somebody just walked up to you, or you asked somebody a question and they just and they just
And
talk
all
$100,000 worth of shit to you.
that.
You'd be mad as hell and you'd be ready to fight. You know what I mean? So just because they don't got them rags on, don't mean somebody won't haul off and knock shit out of you for being disrespectful. You know what I mean? So so when you see these people, you know what I mean, you
I'm listening.
have the manners that your parents taught you. You
Speaking
know
of
what I
which,
mean?
I'm gonna throw this
You've
out
been
there real
growing
quick.
up saying yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir. You've been saying it all these years. That's what your parents beat into you all them years. Okay, so why do you think because you're grown now and you got these rags on that you can just
Mhm.
do and say and be whatever? You know what I mean? Normally, 9 times out of 10, the same one is being disrespectful on that weekend is the same one that you're gonna see with a damn student tie on. And it was like, hey, how are you today? How was your day? You know what I mean? But
Welcome
then
to
you go
Best
out on the
Buy. How
weekend,
can I
you're on
help
some
you?
bullshit. You
Right.
know what I mean? Exactly. But then you out here and you tougher than fucking nails and you ain't, you know what I mean? You ain't about this life and all this other bullshit.
Right.
Knowing
Right.
when you go home, you straight soft serve ice cream like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Cut
Yeah.
the games, man.
Yeah.
Just just be
Yeah.
respectful. You know
I
what I
seen
mean?
that
Be
before.
respectful
No, it's
all the way
true.
around. Just be respectful, man. It ain't. I mean, this ain't hard, man. These bike weeks ain't no different than anything else you go to. It ain't no different than a damn county fair.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just bikes involved. Be
Yeah.
respectful.
I see these dudes, man, that's softer than drugstore cotton, and and they show up. Now I'm telling you, the softer than drugstore cotton, they show up at Bike Week, and all of a sudden, you know, they got in their head they 10-foot tall, bulletproof with a 10-inch foot, whatever, you know. But hey, I was gonna throw this out here too. You just hit on something. So my sister, Alita, love you. That's my sister. My DNA, actual blood, grew up in the same house, sister, and she's watching that. She used to tell me for years, one of these days somebody gonna whoop your ass. She used to say it all the time. I could hear it in my head right now. One of these days somebody gonna whoop your ass. Cause I say no, they ain't. Cause I can fight. I can fight. She goes, oh yeah, one of these days somebody gonna whoop your ass. So every time I go to like Daytona, one of them things, I'm like, you know what? Let me be cool because I don't. And like, if I do got to get beat up, I don't want to get beat up in front of 800 of my closest friends and brothers in Daytona. I'm like, if I get beat up, I want it to be like where there's only like 3 people, and I'm gonna swear to God they lying, right? Like that. But anyways, Alita, if you're watching, she is watching. I love you because she already chimed in on our Facebook group. But Shaggy, I
Let me
was
say this right quick before you go
yeah.
further. Before Shaggy gets, if you with 800 of your brothers and you get your ass whooped, then that's a bigger problem.
Oh yeah, facts.
You got a bigger problem that you got to deal with.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fact. I was being facetious, but I'm with you. I do understand, Shaggy. So let's say, so we get it. Archbishop say, give it like you get it. You're dealing with civilians. Be respectful. And I think I hope everybody watching can kind of agree with that. We might have some e-thugs and telephone tough guys out there who's like on that fuck that shit. I'm gonna go there and show my ass. But I think we all agree that's not the move. What if your club, you're out there, in I'll say Daytona just because it's going on. You're out there in Daytona, you see a club that's friendly with your club. How do y'all get down? Like, how do you go through the whole lineup where everybody's greeting each other? Do you just head nod? Do you chop it up? Are y'all hanging out the rest of the night? Like, how does that look?
Well, I mean, if there's a club you're friendly with, you always pay the respects. I mean, that's just part of protocol.
Mhm.
Even when I'd go as far to say, even if you're at a big rally like, say, Daytona, and the rumor has always been who runs that rally and whose rally, what club takes responsibility for that rally because it's theirs. You even pay respect to them. It's their town. Be good ambassadors for your club, but also, be good ambassadors to your community, and don't be afraid to stick your hand out, and shake your hand, and a lot of those clubs will look at you and say, "Hey, man, have a good time," but probably, best advice is don't stay, but don't cause any shit neither. They don't want that problem in the rallies like that. Again, keeping law enforcement at bay, keeping them less involved in what we're doing. When it comes to dealing with the civilians, man, I look at that question with this answer. And the answer is I look at civilians as if I look at it at home when I'm out at bars and stuff like that. Since I don't drink, I remember being a young drunk idiot. I tried to avoid the young drunk idiots, and when the young drunk idiots want to come up and talk, and you try to be very nice with them, and kind of corral them off to somewhere else. There's always that one guy that just wants to just see how much pain he doesn't feel, and so he wants to test that theory. And you have to be smarter than that because at the end of the day, when law gets involved with you tuning somebody up in a very public place like a Sturgis or a Daytona bike week or Laconia or Laughlin, you're going to be the one that gets burnt because you're the motorcycle club. They're going to throw gang enhancement shit at you. So, you really got to use your head, and you really got to be an adult, and you really got to be an ambassador for your community and for your club. And sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and say, I hope somebody's got bail money, and it's going to happen. I mean, it's just going to happen. The thing is try to avoid those situations because the clubs already know you're the automatic loser, period, in any situation. Whether, you're right, wrong, or indifferent. Everybody's going to say, oh, the club came in there with 500 people. They automatically came in there and they're intimidating everybody. They're not going to report that the 500 guys that came in there with that club came in there and threw a bunch of money across that bar. Everybody's popping and having a good time. Some guy comes out of the bathroom because he's in there puking because he's been drinking for 2 days straight. And he hasn't stopped drinking because probably no telling how much cocaine went up his nose, and he's refusing to lay down. Now he's shithoused and spun, like rerun, and he wants to come out there and just talk to you. In his mind is probably a conversation of respect and kindness, and what's coming out is being slobbered on and spit on and incoherent ramblings, and you just try to shoo him away. Of course, he takes that as disrespectful. Now he doesn't see everybody else in there. He just sees, he thinks he's gonna, tune you up. Well,
Right. Now I know
it's all about public perception too. Well, they brought 800 guys in here. They came in here and they were intimidating.
Well,
I've heard up in Sturgis, a lot of the bars up there are no colors allowed.
Oh yeah. Well, they do that in some parts of Florida as well. And I spend a ridiculous amount of time working with some of these locations and some of these areas. They say, oh, one individual does a thing, and they're like, yep, that's it for everybody. So then next thing you know, for the next 3 to 6 months, I'm talking to 7 to 12 different owners of different establishments to explain to them, hey, that was an isolated incident, because they love to hit us with that broad stroke of a brush. I was going to tell so Dibber said something interesting. He was saying that over here, so for those of y'all that don't know, Dibber's our brother from over in the UK. He's across the pond in London, or actually he's outside of London now. But anyway, he was saying over here, you see it on the majority of event flyers, back patch by prior arrangement. What that means in plain English is, hey, if you're invited, come. If you're not, don't. That's what that means. So back patch, that means your colors, your rags. That's you better have that arranged ahead of time. So when you're coming to a large event, let's say in the UK, based on what Dibber's saying, you got to invite, and that happens over here too. But for some of these super huge things like the Daytona and Myrtle Beach and some of this stuff, like Daytona is considered what they call an open city. That means everybody can come, even though it's in Florida. There's Florida has a couple of different entities that kind of say what the situation is in Florida, but Florida Daytona is open during bike week, so ain't none of that stuff going on. Also, Gio said, I'm down for a hood party like the next man, but I ain't got $5,000 to burn to see some drunks and some girls dance on top of the bar. That's a good point. You could do that at the clubhouse there.
Well, so Gio, to answer what you're talking about, especially if you're going to talk about Sturgis, and I can only go off of stories I've heard. I just haven't gone up there, but you got the Black Hills, you got the all the great rides. A lot of people, I guess, ride over Wyoming. They ride up to the president's, the deal that they got up there. They were right up to Custer's Last Stand and all the neat things that, in and around the Black Hills up there. It's more than just Sturgis inside town there, which I hear is a nightmare when it comes to just the traffic part of it. Uh, I don't know how many people ride Softails, but Softails and traffic suck because of that. The
Yeah.
fucking dipstick tube
Mm-hmm.
will literally burn a hole in your leg while you're sitting there just idling, moving along. The other thing too is, um, there at these rallies, the smaller rallies are cool because you don't have so much the community you're dealing with. It's in a cordoned off area like a fairgrounds. You camp in there and all the beer and food, and you can bring your own beer and food or whatever. It's all right there for you.
Right. Right.
A Sturgis, a Laconia, a Daytona, uh, a, a Myrtle Beach, uh, you know, uh, those type of rallies involve the community, involve the town. So you're putting your money into the economy. You're going to their restaurants. You're going to their bars.
Right.
You're dealing with all the other entities that puts you as the club member in public.
Okay.
Whereas the smaller rallies, you could stay inside the fenced off area. Then you have your little fenced off area, and
Oh yeah.
all is well. But when you're doing stuff like this, you need to be professional. I mean, um, I, I I can't say it enough. When it comes to what law enforcement's now capable of, you don't have to give your name, you don't have to give your serial number, you don't have to give your birth date, none of that shit no more. It's all face recognition cameras. They put them up all over the place. I heard down there at Sturgis, like there's
Yeah.
the police cams and shit like that. Um, and your license plate tells a story of who you are. And then you have everybody with the cell phones and all the snitches that can't mind their own business.
Yeah.
So
It's a different situation now than it was just. I'm not kidding. 10 years ago, it was crazy different. But I'll tell you what. I wanted to. We're going to take a short break here in just a second. But before the break, when we come back from the break, what we're going to talk about is we talked about civilians, friendly clubs, and like that. We're going to talk about some unknown clubs and ops. Those other guys, folks that you and your guys don't. The other guys, the ones you don't necessarily like. Maybe they don't like you. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But before we take a short break, I wanted to send out our well wishes to Heather. Heather's one of our moderators, and she's been a friend and friend and family to this show from day one. And she's going through it right now because her mother's is fighting a hell of a battle with cancer, and Heather's in there fighting that battle with her. So Heather, look, we love you. We got you. If you need something, you say it. I know a lot of folks are reaching out to you, but it ain't enough. So if you need a thing, let us know. In the meantime, we wish you well. We're going to take a quick little break. And if I can push the right button to make this thing act right. Bam. There we go. I lied. That was the wrong button. Let me try it again.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
And that was brief as all hell. But speaking of the commercial, which is from our sponsor, Fran Hash, excellent. I mean, she's consistently fighting for the rights of bikers in the state of Florida and in other states as well. We touched on this last week, how we went up to Tallahassee to fight opposing this bill, HB 837. We're not going to delve all into it. Short version is it's to screw up the insurance system for the entire state, not just bikers. Bikers catch it the worst, but this is going to affect small businesses, regular folks, whether you're in a cage or whether you're in a car or whether you're on a motorcycle. You're going to catch hell, as in your rates are going to go up and your protection is going to go down. If a guy hits you while you're riding your motorcycle and he's got a $20,000 insurance policy, that's what you get. So forget about getting your anything paid for. If this thing says 20,000, because that's what the state requires, that's what you get.
Well,
And
and so the point
Mhm.
of being a part of the community and being a part of the COCs and being a part of the National Coalition of Motorcyclists, when Big Bone and Archbishop were both telling me about this, the first words out of my mouth were, "This is already a law in Michigan."
Yep.
This is exactly almost word for word for what Michigan did some years ago. It was a big topic for, I think, 2 years straight up at INCOM. I think it did become a law.
Yeah.
And like I told, Big Bone being a chairman and me being a chairman, I said, "Hey, man, get in touch with Michigan, and they can tell you, what the deal is with that." But this is a law that really hurts everybody, the consumer. It hurts the insurance companies. It even hurts the person that is the victim,
Yeah.
and all of it boils down to putting big insurances out of business, on top of getting rid of some of these. Basically, try to get rid of motorcycles, because if you make them impossible
Oh, yeah.
to insure, you make them impossible to recover from these healthy bills. Yeah.
I'll tell you something crazy. While we were, and by the way, we're going up for a legislative session on Tuesday and Wednesday. And by the way, if you're in Florida anywhere, and you want to join us to go to Tallahassee, we're going to go to a legislative session. It's open. Myself, Fran Hash, a number of other folks are going to be speaking with these House of Representatives, these congressmen, trying to give our point of view. They're Republicans, they're Democrats, they're independents. We're going to be going up there. And if you want to know the information, get at me or at Archbishop. We're going to let you know how to plug in with us so you can ride up there with us. We're doing it Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to stay up there to go and do this thing, because it's, the state legislature is back in session now. So we're going to go up there and do the damn thing. But in regard to what Shaggy was just saying, that's a fact. So here is as it relates to bikers. So, in Florida, we have this, our helmet law is pretty liberal. You want to wear a helmet, you wear it, you don't. And there's some particulars to it, but for the most part, if you don't want to, it's the law. You can wear a helmet if you want to, you don't have to. So they're saying, hey, if you get hit on a motorcycle, if you don't have on a helmet, it doesn't matter whether there's a TMI, traumatic head injury or not. If you're not wearing a helmet, they're trying to say, oh, well, we don't have to cover you at all. It doesn't matter whether it was you broke your little toe. What does a helmet have to do with that? It doesn't. The law says you don't have to wear a helmet, but this new thing that they're trying to jam down your throat is, oh, golly, you didn't have on a helmet, even though it's the law.
You weren't wearing all your safety equipment.
Yeah. So they're going to punish you for that. But it's a mess. But anyway, y'all get at us. You can catch us on. You got all of our. Well, I'll make sure we put up our social stuff so you can get at us. It's happening here in Florida. That's a fight, as Shaggy just pointed out. It happened in Michigan already. So don't think it can't happen in your area. And this just ain't about motorcycles. This is about motorcycles, cars, trucks, small businesses, trucking industries, Uber, and in fact, Uber, the people that own Uber are all for it, because they want to say, screw you. They don't want any liability. But we're not going to delve all into that stuff, but get at us anytime.
Well, here's one thing I'll say is I'll get in touch with the guy up there in Michigan, the chairman, and the lawyer that they had.
Yeah.
That they're both the guy is in a very old club up there. I'll get in touch with him and get that lawyer in contact with you guys so that they can give you guys some help on figuring out a way to fight this, and maybe a different way to make what they did.
Man, hey, look, we need all the help we can get. So we're going up there.
Especially when a Republican state does some shit like this. That's not, like, Missouri's very Republican, and we're not going. That's taking your freedom and your rights away. Why pay for insurance if you're not going to get nothing for it?
That was a big part of the argument. About 80% of the folks that argued against this were Republicans, but they were arguing to a Republican House of Representatives who had already got their marching orders from the Republican governor, who didn't give a damn because he's trying to get some money from the insurance company so he can run for president. But that's a whole other subject. We got a few questions. I don't want to delve into it too much. Archbishop was giving me the eye. He told me, hey, leave that alone now. I'm listening, brother. I'm listening. But I'll tell you like this. We got a few questions that we got to address. Doggone Night Stalker, aka Cecil Walker, aka Jalen Walker, one of my favorite people on the planet, said, has there ever been an instance when people not in the MC will start the bullshit?
99.9% of the time.
Archbishop, that cannot be true. What do you think?
I kind of agree.
Yo, I tell you what, Walker, the truth of the matter is that typically MCs, we regulate ourselves, we police ourselves. So a lot of times, even if you do got a hot-headed so-and-so, there's somebody who's going to pull his coat and be, hey, man, reel that shit in. Civilians don't have it.
I'll say this, and I would say 100% of the time, it has to do with somebody drunk and a woman is involved.
Oh, yeah. Which brings me to my next question. Y'all killing me with that crystal ball shit y'all doing tonight. Okay, so my next question is this, because this came in on a text message. Should you bring, and I'm not sure whether this is in an MC environment or whether it's an MC or a civilian. The question is, should you bring your girl with you to Bike Week? What do you think?
Hold on. Say that one more again. Should you do what?
Should you bring your girl? I imagine that's your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. Should you bring her with you to Bike Week?
That depends on how much you love her, I guess. No, let me take it. Let me take it back.
All the players stand up. Here we go.
Let me take it back. Let me take it back.
School time has started.
Let me take it back. Now, I'm gonna say this. You know, like some people will
Don't
say,
be scared.
you know,
already stepped off
I'm just gonna say what everybody else ain't gonna say. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. You know, we always say you don't bring sand to the beach. You know, they say that. Now, I'm gonna say this because I gotta be respectful on both ends. You can bring your lady if you want, so you don't get in no shit, or you don't take home no shit. But if you want something else, and you go alone, you know what I mean. Know the risk that's involved in that. You know what I mean. So if you don't want no extra problems, and she wants to go, you can take her. Now, I'm not saying that's the best thing to do, but I'd understand in the long run. Now, me personally, I'm going dolo, not because I'm running around doing that.
What is dolo? What is dolo?
Solo, dolo.
Oh, solo. I thought you said dolo. I said, what the fuck?
Well, he did. He said dolo.
Yeah, solo, dolo.
By yourself.
By myself. You know what I mean? And I go by myself for a reason. It's not because I don't want her around. It's because me being out on my twos, that's my peace. You know what I mean? And I don't got to hear no extra. I don't got to worry about no extra. If anything go on, I'm not running around trying to look to see where she at. None of that. You know what I mean? And being the fact that I'm on my bike, I don't ride nobody on the back of my bike simply because things happen. You know what I mean? And if something do happen, it's just me as opposed to my whole damn family. So, so there's different reasons there. You know what I mean? Take your pick. But like I said, if you own some sneaky shit, that's one thing. If you got an actual reason, that's another.
Okay. All right, guys.
But don't take sand at the beach. No.
Shaggy, what say you?
I say this. For me, if it's just me going up there by myself to any of these rallies, yeah, I take my old lady because it's me and her. If the club's going because of the seriousness in which I take the office I hold, she's not going because my job is to worry about the safety of my brothers, and she could be a distraction. Now, I will say this for my wife: she is the Dago stabby one. It's like she'll back to back fight. She don't care. She's down. But in this lifestyle, when you have a lot of your brothers, there certain officer positions come with certain responsibilities, and when taken seriously as they should be, that's what you signed up for. My wife don't typically go anymore like we used to when we were younger, but when it comes to big rallies and the whole club's going, my brothers are there for my chapter. My brothers are there for my nation. I have a position I was elected into, and I give my word that the, the security of the club comes first. So no, she wouldn't be able to go, and it's for her safety as well as mine. And she wouldn't be that distraction. But if it's just me and her, yeah, hell yeah, I'd take her. I've taken her to just about every rally we've ever gone to, and had a blast. But um, uh, it depends on your position that you hold in your club, I think, and your club's rules on that as well. I mean, there's a lot of times in these big rallies, I would think some clubs would say no ladies for the simple fact you just don't know what's going to happen. If you're going up there just strictly to have fun, well, hell yeah. But I'm very security minded, and security is very important to me. So no, if I'm going with my club up to a huge rally or something like that, no, I'm up there to watch my wife.
Right on. All right. So Walker's got a question, and I'm going to pitch that to you, AB. It says, I'm sure you might have covered this in a previous stream, but are MCs required to check in with the MC from that city? That's a kind of a loaded question, but what say you, Archbishop?
Now, if you're dealing with something like Daytona or something like that, that's a little bit different. If you passing through, yes,
Right.
you should check in and let them know that you're there. You know what I mean? Because 9 times out of 10, even if you don't check in, somebody gonna see you. Somebody gonna make a phone call, say they seen you. So it ain't like you incognito. Ain't nobody gonna see you. Everybody knows everybody. You know what I mean? Especially in small towns like that. So like I said, if you just traveling through or whatever, stopping for the weekend, whatever, then yeah, you know what I mean, you reach out, let somebody know, or like I said, like if you know your route and you know the route that you're gonna take and the stops you're gonna be making, you can kind of call ahead of time and let them know that you're gonna be passing through.
Okay.
But for like
I would
bike
say on
festivals and
that,
stuff like that, you don't gotta do that.
I would say typically when it comes to the rally itself, I have never in all these years ever heard anybody say you need to call the local dominant. However, I will say this, and this is really riding that fine line of the politics. If, if you're in a club and say for example bike week, your club is at odds with that club that's predominantly known to be there, you don't go to that as one respect to them not to go. That's setting up something to happen. If you are from a club that they may not typically know, I wouldn't say necessarily call, but if you see them, definitely be respectful, introduce yourself. It's their town, as you would want them to do if they came into your town. That's the great part about our community is this thing called respect. Um, if I'm coming from a club that has ill will, so to say, with another club that is known for hosting something big like that, yeah, I would give them a call, just as a respecting and to keep anything right. It's called being professional and following protocols as they should be.
Right.
Typically, though, never heard of making phone calls first. It's just a new way of doing things these days. Being smarter, stopping the conflict, and because of some of the organizations that we can discuss on a different topic, um, these clubs are communicating a lot better, and they want their rallies to be good. They want the rallies to be big and their communities to be have their coffers filled, and they don't want the bullshit. They don't want to deal with themselves. So just be respectful and be professional.
Well, Bolo said, Shaggy, Bolo said he never liked you and you're funny looking. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me grab my glasses. I might have read that shit wrong.
I think so.
Oh no, my bad. I said that. Bolo said, what do you guys recommend for establishments that have no color rules? Do you take off your cuts or go somewhere else?
I'll say this: the rule we have here in Missouri with all the clubs, if you do not allow colors in your establishment, you will not get my money. I don't take my colors off for nobody. Now,
That
during
part.
bike rallies, I don't take my colors off for nobody, and I don't go to establishments that are all on colors. So I think I've covered all the bases. You know, what say you, Art?
Mm. Now, I've been I've been to establishments before that said that I couldn't wear them, and I've turned around and went somewhere else. But I've also, me and Bone was just up here at Thunder Beach, and we wasn't supposed to wear rags in there, and we walked right in there in our rags, and they didn't say a word.
Damn sure did.
So
Thanks.
yeah, so you know what I mean. So it kind of varies. You know what I mean. Now I just if I can't wear my rags in there, then if my rags can't go, my money ain't going either. You know what I mean? That's
Well,
just
I'll
how
tell
I
you,
feel about it.
I'll push to see how serious they are. I'll do like you guys did, walk up in there
Yeah.
and you hit the wish a motherfucker would button.
Yo,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. That's my.
outstanding.
I'll tell you like this. Just for me, because that's just kind of my default. Even if not coming in with no rah-rah stuff and all like that, but I look at it as, I'm a clubber, and I'm also an American, and I carry which it was actually one of the trivia questions that was on here, like, what do I keep in my pocket? Well, it's I keep a copy, sometimes two copies of the U.S. Constitution, and that's arguable when it comes to businesses. But yeah, I don't take my rags off for anything other than like the shower or maybe cutting my grass. That's about it. I take my rags off when I want to take my rags off, not because somebody said something different. But of course, if it becomes an issue, then yeah, like Archbishop said, you don't have to get my money. I'm okay with that. And the neat thing about us, the way that we move, if you don't get our money, you don't have to get nobody's money. You don't got to
Right,
get nobody's
right,
money. 'Cause that's
right. Because
just
ain't nobody going in there.
yeah, that's 2-3 phone calls, and don't nobody have to go there. And most of the time, a lot of times, them folks want to, hey, wait, what'd we ever do to you? Well, you said we couldn't come in there. Well, it wasn't your race, it was your don't matter. If I can't come in there because of what I choose to wear on my back, and my brothers probably feel like he don't want to come in either. Let's see, somebody's calling us. Let's see what they're talking about. Hey, hello, and thank you for calling. Looked like somebody calling from Illinois, I think. But hey, you've reached the Big BoneYard. You got Big Bone 1%er, Archbishop 1%er, and Uncle Shaggy 1%er. And who in the whole wide world is calling us on the phone right now?
Oh, how you doing? I was just wondering something. I was wondering if I go down to Daytona, if I'd be able to meet some clubs.
Well, only if as long as you're not affiliated with this guy named Hollywood. And let me tell you why. Because
I just want a Slurpee right now for some reason, or I
he's on
mean a
some
big gulp.
bullshit. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? To say hi.
Just go to Hollywood.
How you doing, man?
What's
Your accent is just as bad as your accent with the Chicago. I mean,
He sound like.
Well, I was gonna try. Hi, honeys. Aren't you looking good today?
Yeah,
that's on that
stick with
other
the first
show
one.
you host, isn't it?
Stick with the first one.
Yeah.
Well, I was just calling to say hi, man. You guys are having a good conversation.
Man,
Start
it's
calling
always
them.
fun. So let me ask you, man, while we got you here, we got a legit MC freaking royalty on the phone. Hollywood, what's the biggest bike rally that you've been to? But then what's the smallest one that you went to that you had a great time? He's some SAT,
I've been to
SAT
Daytona.
questions.
I don't know how many, I've been to Daytona. I don't know how many times, but I really like the smaller weekend rallies, like the hill climbs and stuff like that. I really don't like the bigger rallies.
Yeah, it's a lot of folks. It's a lot of folks.
And I'm actually going to be doing tomorrow a segment on Daytona where the news media put out a bunch of tape as far as who's down there and stuff. And I was like, man, yep, I'm too old for this now. They don't talk like me. They don't look like me anymore. I lost faith.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But man, I'll tell you what, I'm glad you chimed in with us, man, because we might be doing something right. I mean, Shaggy keep messing up, but what are you gonna do? It's just how he is. What do you?
I'm gonna tell you what. You go, and even Hollywood could say something about this. You go down to Hog Rock, you're gonna see more of the freakiest, weirdest shit you ever see in your life. I mean, even all the time I did in the service and all the things I seen around the world, Hog Rock even set me back, and I think I blushed a few times. And then Little Sturgis, Kentucky, I know damn well I had never seen so many naked women in my entire life, and I've been to whorehouses across this world and strip clubs across this world. These women, you couldn't pay them to get dressed. It was it was phenomenal. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, at Hog Rock, they had a chick that was in a cage that literally you throw her $10 and she's giving you a blowjob right there at the cage. I mean, I've never seen anything like that before. It was great.
What's the address to this place? I mean,
Google Hog Rock, Illinois, and
I'm asking for my
times
friend.
a year they have that bike rally. And then Google Little
Hog
Sturgis,
Rock is
Kentucky.
the only party left that I know that is what we would be used to.
Right on.
Oh Lord, it's definitely old school.
Archbishop just texted me and he asked to get the address for the place. I don't
damn well.
Down off Route 1 right before you get to Kentucky.
Right online.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Look,
guys,
let me tell you a story about Hog Rock. So
make sure you guys hit the like and pass out the word.
And Hollywood, good looking, brother. We appreciate it greatly, man. Thank you. And hey, we'll see you soon, man. Definitely. All right, now. Hey, that was Hollywood.
The story on Hog Rock. And I'll tell you what's nuts about Hog Rock. There is nothing that crosses the line out there. I thought that there were places where there were lines you don't cross, but this one, no crossing. So there's this buddy of mine I was down there with. He's my former club brother, still a close friend of mine, one of my best friends. He invites me down. I just bought my 07 Heritage. So this is back in September of 07. And I just ride down there for just a day. Like it's a 3-day thing. I just go down there on Saturday, call it good, ride back. It's only 150 miles out there from St. Louis, if that. So me and my wife get out there. We're having a blast. We ended up staying the night. We get up next morning, we're having breakfast, and the owners ride up on horses. Now you have to tote in your own alcohol because it's a dry county. You can't get alcohol in there. So they can't sell it or anything like that. It's a liability thing, but you bring your own shit, good deal. And we're talking to the two owners of Hog Rock, and they're on these horses. And this dude is walking around. He is well known, like for decades well known, and his name is Big Dick Dave. And I am not kidding you. He is one of the only men out there walking around butt-ass naked with a elephant trunk going around picking up peanuts with it, right? I was like, what the hell? And I looked at my wife and said, dear, now what would you do with that? My wife's response was not a fucking thing. Of course, my brother, he asked his old lady the same thing, and she's like, shit, that thing would kill me. Well, then I shit you not, I see one of the male horses look back like that, look back forward, and then look back again like the horse understood, like, wait a minute here. I'm the one supposed to have the horse dick. What the fuck is this dude's problem? I never laughed so hard in my life until what stopped all the laughter is this chick walks up to him and goes, look, can I put this on your dick? It was like a cock ring or whatever. She slides it on his dick. He says, hurry up and take the picture. You're cutting the circulation off of my dick. I said, dude, you're fucking showing off now. Get the fuck out of here, man. What is going on here? That
You
would be
understand?
that's hog rock.
All right, gotcha.
All the weirdos come out.
See, I think Daytona used to be they've reeled it back quite a bit, but Daytona used to be like just some insanity that you would see out there, man. That's pretty wild, man. But I'll tell you what. So I was going to ask. Which we hit on it, but we didn't really delve into it. Let's say you're in Daytona, you're in Sturgis, you're doing your thing, and them other guys show up. Next thing, how do you move? What's the next thing you do? You know, and remember, now let's say in 2000, now in 1973, it was one thing. 2023, how do you move?
Go ahead,
How
Archbishop.
do you move? Well, I say when you see them, I mean, like I said, everybody's antennas are going is going to fly up because everybody looking. You know what I mean? And I mean, for the most part, those I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm going to pay more attention now, but I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. You know, and see, I think that's one of the big misconceptions about a lot of these club lives. Like they think like, okay, because you see 20 or 30 of them walk up in here, that is like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Such and such in here, man. I don't give a fuck about them being in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
You having your fun just like I'm having mine. You know what I mean? Don't start no SH, won't be no IT. All it is. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing because I see them. Okay, so what? You know what I
Right.
mean? They're gonna do the same thing that you would do when you walk in there. They're gonna walk up to you. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna walk up to you, shake your hand or whatever, and go on about their damn business. It's usually what they're gonna do for the most part.
Right. Right. So yeah.
Well,
So
you got to look at it as a public place.
mhm,
So they're not wanting. I mean, if they're going there again for any other reason than to have a good time, they shouldn't be going. I mean, if the local club actually has a club that shows up and they're wanting to, get down to clown and all that shit like that, um, I would certainly hope that they would be remiss at engaging because they're probably filled with cops. One and two, they're being set up and man, it's shitty. It's a no-win situation for the club. No-win situation.
right on. So my brother Walker asked a great question. He says, "Is there or are there MCs that no one wants to be around?" And I'm gonna hit you up
I
later.
actually
Off the
responded to that before you put that on there.
Did you? What'd you say?
I put on there that we won't answer that question.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that here. Uh, and hey, Q Sarcastic said, "Big Bone 1%er. Do you carry?" I think he's referring to the Constitution I was talking about. He said, "Do you carry that because you serve or bike lifestyle?" So the reason there's a number of us. I know Shaggy has them. I have them. I'm pretty sure you got them, Archbishop. The Constitution. We carry those because we believe in knowing our rights. We share that with everybody throughout our COCs and just bikers in general throughout our councils and so forth. We want folks to know what their rights are, and
Hmm.
most importantly, when someone is challenging or trying to deny your rights, it's one thing to say it; it's a whole other thing to show it to them in black and white. And that's not something everybody's got to do. That's just how we get down. But yeah, it's important for everybody to know your rights. So if there's a whole lot of folks that scream about the Second Amendment who have not a clue what it actually says. They don't know what it says. They say, "Oh, that means I can have a gun." Well, does it? Have you read it? Nope. Okay, well, read it. It's in there. Education is what the reason that we do these shows is so that we can let folks know legitimately. We don't do that whole what do they call it? The conspiracy theory or the opinionated this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, we share some opinions here and there, but we like if you're talking to the three of us that's here, you're gonna get actual factual, actual real life data, you know, and it's somewhere in black and the stuff that we're talking about is somewhere in black and white, but that's a great question, sarcastic. But yeah, I carry it for a few different reasons. One, because I'm an American. Two, I'm a Marine. 3, I'm a clubber. 4, I'm in the COC. 5, I'm in A-bait. But I got a lot of reasons to why. But mostly, trumping all of that, I'm an American citizen. I need to know what my rights are, and I got a good tan, so I really need to know what my rights are. Just saying, just saying. But Walker said, "Hey, understood, Shaggy. You answered a great question for a lot of folks hollering at Hollywood, Frogzilla, but yeah, man. So the other thing, so I guess that just to recap that last little part, in case I talked too much over it. The big thing is, so the ops show up. It's a gigantic. So what? You're in Daytona, Sturgis. You're talking open city. They're going to show up the same way we are, or the same way your organization might. But hey, you do your thing, they do their thing. As long as their thing don't interfere with your thing, ain't nobody gonna have a thing. Just live and let live. Get it like give it like you get it. That part. But Shaggy, so you had this hog. Wait, what's the name of that place again? Hog what?
Hog Rock.
Did you send the address? Did you post it? Anything? Are you trying to help anybody about this Hog Rock?
Well, I pretty much give a pretty detailed story of what's going to be happening there. So if they've heard Hog Rock about 10 times now, they would have already Googled it, and dates and times are already posted on the old interweb.
Right on. Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, so let me throw this out there real quick. If you didn't already do it, and this would be real cool, everybody that's watching and listening, take a minute. Seriously, it'll take you 5 seconds. Look at your phone or your computer, whatever. Hit the like button. If you didn't hit the like button, share this thing, subscribe if you didn't already do that. But definitely hit the like button. And we really love the interaction that we're getting from folks, the folks that join us every week. We absolutely love that. And so we're going to wrap it up. We've been at this for about an hour and almost 18 minutes. And I think that this has been good. We're getting a lot of folks set up so that you can know what this bike week thing, and it doesn't matter which one it is, what bike week is supposed to look like for wherever you are, So go out there. I like Archbishop and Shaggy was saying, don't show your ass. You don't got to do that. I think if you go out there with the idea of having a good time, and that's really what you're going there for, then you'll probably achieve it, And of course, there's the miscellaneous assholes and all like that. But, those folks get dealt with accordingly. Archbishop, what say you?
The only thing I'm going to say is, go out, have a good time. Be mindful of who's around you, pay attention. And if you're out there and them boys is on you like that, keep your boxes locked. Keep your information in your pocket.
Yes, sir.
So that way you don't have to go in your bag to keep them from searching your shit. So keep it in your pocket. Registration, license, insurance, keep it in your pocket.
These joints. That's
than that,
we use these.
Right. Other than that, have fun.
Yeah. Shaggy, what say you, sir?
So I'm sitting here seeing we got 61 people watching still. I have to tell the story before I let this go, because this is a great topic. We're talking about bike weeks and these events and stuff like that. I have to tell a story about the first bike rally I went to. Didn't even have a motorcycle. I was a young active Navy Seabee in Gulfport. I was going to the Gulfport Memorial Day blowout for the first time, and they had the NHRA all sanctioned Harley Davidson drags that they had out there for every year up till right before Katrina. But so I'm out there watching these drags, and we're walking around, and it's a contained area. They got camping, they got vendors, they got all this cool stuff out there. All these beautiful women are running around. I think I was 19, 20, maybe 21 at the time. It was before I met my first wife. And I met this gal, and she's a little tipsy, and I'm a little tipsy, and she had a boyfriend, and he's a pretty big feller, and he got all tipsy and ended up passing out in their tent. And this gal came running up to me hours later in her boyfriend or husband's boots. I didn't know. I was a young dumb sailor. I didn't care. It was amazing. She stole his boots to come find me so we could go visit my tent. And then she went back with her boots or his boots on, and I thought that was probably what sold me 100% without a shadow of a doubt to go to these rallies. The fun that's involved, the motorcycle racing, especially if it's got the NHRA drags or it's got the run what you brung, but the fact that women enjoy being women and they love the bad boys and the bikers and stuff like that, and loose fornication makes everything great. I'm here to tell you, especially when you're a single young man, kind of like, Archbishop was real hesitant about bringing the old lady or not. Player stand up. Yep, he was doing good with that. He's right too. Man, I had a blast back then. It sold me on his whole thing.
Right on. So what you're saying is women are not allowed to go to Daytona. Is that what you said?
All the women can go that need to possibly be there.
Right on. Right on. Well, I'll tell you all what, we appreciate everybody that took time out of your life to join us tonight. And Archbishop had told me, he sent me another text and said that we're supposed to do this again in about 7 days, but I don't do math good. He said 7 days, but I'll go along with it. That's what he want to say. But in the meantime, seriously, folks, I want to say thank y'all for joining us tonight on the Big BoneYard. You got myself, doggone Big Bone 1%er, Archbishop 1%er, and doggone Uncle Shaggy. Man, what's up with this button? And Uncle Shaggy 1%er here on the Big BoneYard. Man, we thank y'all for joining us tonight. And yeah, we definitely look forward to seeing y'all again in about 7 days. Also, if you want anybody, if you got any questions, anything like that, catch us on the the Facebook joint. Catch us on the Facebook page or in one of the chats. Somebody was asking about Q Sarcastic was asking about getting one of the document holders. Hit us up. We'll make sure you get one of those. Just hey, we're here for y'all, man. So just let us know. All right. Other than that, peace. We'll see y'all in a week.
Yep, be good. Y'all take care.
All right, man.
Welcome to the Big BoneYard. Enter at your own risk.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.